So this afternoon, representatives of the Cockroach Janata Party, the CJP, Ashutosh Ranka and Saurav Das met with representatives of the central government, the Union Health Minister JP Nadda and the MOSPMO, Dr. Jitendra Singh. The talks went on for 2 hours. There were three primary demands of the students. Number one, that Dharmendra Pradhan, the education minister, should be sacked. Number two, that there should be 1 crore compensation for all the suicide victims of NEET, the students who committed suicide because they couldn't bear the pressure of NEET paper leaks. And number three, all the FIRs registered against students, both on the 20th of July when there were clashes between the students as well as the police, and also in the days subsequent to that, those FIRs need to be removed. They came out of this meeting, the representatives of the CJP said that on 2 out of the 3 demands, the government has been positive, but on their primary demand, their number one demand, which is the sacking or the removal of Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan as the education minister, the government is still adamant that there is no question of asking him to go. In fact, they've called these representatives back again in the next 24 hours, and there's likely to be another round of talks tomorrow. So what will give? What could possibly be a breakthrough in this deadlock between the students and, of course, the government? I'm now joined by a very special guest. Milind Deora is a Shiv Sena Member of Parliament in the Rajya Sabha. Thank you very much, Milind, for speaking with us here on Times Now. Everything boils down to that one demand which the students have been saying right from day one. They're willing to end this protest. They're willing to go home if Dharmendra Pradhan resigns from his position as education minister to the government of India, or if he is shifted out from that particular ministry to some other ministry. They are saying it's a question of accountability, and the accountability has to start from the top. It has to start from the political executive, but the government is simply not willing to concede to that demand. So what gives?
Look, I'm not privy to what discussions are underway between the government and the Gen Z young protesters who want more accountability in the system. But what I will say is this, that on behalf of my party, we're pleased that Mr. Sonam Wangchuk has called off his fast. We are hoping for a constructive engagement between the government and the students. We have full confidence in the government's commitment to fixing the system. The government has already implemented a series of measures well before the protest began. The Prime Minister, no one less than the Prime Minister, announced the setting up of fast-track courts. And I'm sure that these discussions will lead to positive results, not just for students who are affected by NEET, but for the larger aspirations of the youth. I do believe that sometimes young people, and I've been there myself, young people sometimes when they go out and protest, and especially the youth and the students who protest constructively, peacefully, they're doing that not necessarily just for the NEET issue. They might just be wanting to be heard. They want the government to engage with them. So I can just say to them on behalf of my party, which is an alliance partner, that all political parties, and certainly the NDA has heard them loud and clear. The fact that the Prime Minister of India addressed NDA MPs and said that we have to work together to fulfill the aspirations beyond education of the young people of India. The fact that the Prime Minister announced the setting up of fast-track courts.
No, I agree with all of that. The Prime Minister's midnight message, the setting up of the fast-track courts, the Education Secretary being shunted out, all of that seems fine. But the students are adamant that they will only relent if their primary demand of the minister being sacked is conceded to. And the government clearly is not willing to concede to that particular demand. But there is also a larger concern that the government doesn't understand the language or the grammar of this protest or what these students are actually demanding, that there is no common ground between the government and the protesting students, because the government's familiar tactics or playbook or outreach efforts are simply not working on this new Gen Z. So how do you find common ground, and what may be that common ground for this deadlock to break and some breakthrough to be achieved?
My suggestion is, let's not jump the gun. Those are my limited points. I think that, as I said, I have faith in the government. I would urge the students through you to have faith in this government. This is a responsive government. This is a government led by a Prime Minister who himself has come from a humble background, understands the aspirations, the concerns, the disappointments of the youth. And this government will do all that it can to ensure that there's accountability in the system. That said, the fact that Sonam Wangchuk ji broke his fast, he's someone who I've had the privilege of meeting when I went to Ladakh several years ago. I visited his Sekmol University. The fact that he broke his fast at the hands of 2 union ministers, it shows that the government is keen and wants to work with representatives of these young students. So I'm hopeful of a breakthrough. I'm hopeful that young people will end their protest now that the fast has ended, and will work in unison with the government, and will ensure that they ask tough questions of the government, and I'm sure the government will answer those tough questions, but will work in coordination, close coordination with the government. And in the days and weeks to follow, Parliament is already in session.
Yeah.
Zaka, mind you, we are already in session. I would now suggest that now the time has come. I would say that, look, the opposition's job.
No, talking about the opposition, earlier this week, Rahul Gandhi had a press conference, and the combined opposition has been making this charge against your government that in the last 10 years, there have been more than 150 paper leaks. And this is the fundamental issue, that paper leaks, your government has simply not been able to plug. It's a chronic problem, it's a perennial problem, and this is the systemic reform that they are asking for, which the government is unable to do. So how are you going to fix this problem? Even if, you're able to address the immediate concerns of the students, the systemic problem doesn't seem to be going away.
Well, look, firstly, the opposition has a right to protest. But the opposition should not disrupt Parliament. The opposition should not fire on the shoulders of young students who are launching a campaign which I believe is apolitical. The real student wants an apolitical solution, not politics. So firstly, my message to the opposition is, please don't politicize this and fire on the shoulders of young people. Secondly, yes, there have been paper leaks. There have been paper leaks in the past. There's no point getting into who had more paper leaks. A lot of the state governments that have had paper leaks are also opposition-run states. So I don't want to politicize the issue. My message to the opposition, to the students, is that we are fortunate that today Parliament is in session. We still have 3 more weeks of Parliament. Parliament ends on August 13th. This is the monsoon session. Let's, through our elected representatives, let's have a detailed discussion on how we can make our examination system more robust. I would say let's go a step further. How should we ensure, how should we discuss through our representatives how to make India's economy more resilient, more robust? Not just our education system, but also our job market more robust. We are living in unprecedented times. Today, artificial intelligence is going to disrupt the traditional jobs as we know it. How do we ensure that we are AI-proof and AI-ready for the future? These are the things that we should now discuss. So I would now urge young students, I would now urge oppositions trying to politicize the issue. Please do so if you want to, but do it in Parliament. My message to young people, Mr. Sonam Wangchuk has ended his fast. The government wants to work with you. We hear you. We understand your aspirations. We understand your concerns. We too want accountability in the system. We too want you to come in and engage with us and guide us and tell us how we can fix this system. But do so in a way that is not by protesting now, because your voice has been heard. Do so through your elected representatives. Do so through direct meetings with us.
Okay. All right, Milind Deora, Member of Parliament of the Shiv Sena party, thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. We'll take a quick break here on the program, but news and updates on this very same issue, an issue on which students have been protesting for over a month now. We will have all the latest updates right here on Times Now.